everybody! Welcome back to Jake and Justin in the morning. I almost said Talk Sports with Jake. That's my other podcast. You guys already saw that one.
You would plug your podcast.
I don't mean to, but I literally almost said that. Justin, I hope you're doing well. We have a guest for the first time tonight. I told you we were going to guest for our next podcast. Sorry, we've been off for a little bit. We're trying to get fraudulent behavior off the ground. Got that one off the ground, so now we are back. Welcome for the third time, Kenley Pierre. Kenley, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How you guys doing? I'm doing fine.
Pretty good. Kenley, what'd you have for brek?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No,
I'm
just playing.
I was gonna say nothing.
Okay, what I really had was a sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich with
Ooh, sure.
Okay. Listen, I didn't finish. All right, a sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich with a toasted croissant, and then a nice little orange juice to add to that. And yeah. So it was a good breakfast.
I respect
nice.
it. I respect it.
Yeah.
Justin, what'd you have for brek?
Unlike Kenley, I actually had nothing. I had pretzels.
It's not breakfast, dude.
Dude, literally the first thing I ate was like an hour before this.
You had class at like 2.
Yeah, so.
Wait, the first time you ate was an hour before this?
Yep.
Wow.
Meal prep. It's all about meal prep.
And by the way, for brek, I had a plain big of cream cheese and multigrain Cheerios.
Yeah, can't go wrong with the classics. All right, well, we got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be talking about a little bit of the MLB, the NBA as well. We're going to be doing our power rankings like we did last year with Kenley.
All right.
But we're going to be talking about, first going to start talking about the NFL.
Okay.
First thing I want to talk about first is currently how the Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are doing. Because I know the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are currently playing right now, Thursday. But right now the Buccaneers are coming off honestly a blowout against the Carolina Panthers, who had nobody. And the Packers are currently second in the NFC North at 3-4 after losing to the Jets, to the Giants, the Jets, and the Washington Commanders consecutively.
Oof.
So the first discussion I want to have is this the end of the Brady and Rodgers era?
I think it is. I do think it is. Brady looks washed. Heading into, I believe, the Carolina game, he was the 4th worst quarterback when he's under pressure. His QBR when he's been pressured heading into last week was literally 4. It was like 4.3 or 4.5. The dude looks washed. Just he said, I mean, he obviously almost retired last offseason. It's Brady, but also now his family's falling apart. He's I'm sorry, that's the truth. He's getting divorced. He's not good anymore. He had an all-time great career, maybe the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, at least top 3 quarterback, for sure, probably at least top 2. 7 Super Bowl rings, all the records in the world. He also said 45 was the number he wanted to get to. He got to that. He's got nothing else to prove. He probably should have honestly retired last year when he did have a great year, was an MVP finalist. Went to the divisional round. So, and then for Rodgers, he also looks pretty washed. Bucks may sneak in the playoffs because their division's so bad. They still might win the division, even if they're only like 7-10. The Packers, however, the Vikings are 5-1. I don't think the Packers make the playoffs. They got so many things wrong with them. We'll get to what exactly is wrong with these two teams in a little bit. I want to get Kenley's take on the original question Justin asked on just where the Brady and Rodgers era itself is over. They both look washed. I think Brady's going to retire after the year. Rodgers may follow him maybe another year or so, but yeah, I think the era is over.
I just want to say, with that era, it wasn't really much of a rivalry between those two, as we know. But what I can say is that it should have been over with Tom Brady. It should have been over for 5 years ago, ever since he left my team, the Pats. But what it is that I feel like he should have just stayed retired last year. I don't know what was that about. I don't know what he was trying to prove. I wanted it to be a new era. Rodgers could stay for a little. He still has a chance of capitalizing whatever he had. Well, he doesn't really have anything that's with his receivers and stuff like that. But I feel like Rodgers was more likely to stay a little bit longer. Brady thing was like, what the heck? What are you doing? Like you know, he's getting hurried. I feel like like he's getting pressured on. Like the O line is doing a good job blocking, but like when the opposing team is blitzing, he's having a harder time getting the ball off, and even when he does get the ball off, he's missing throws. He's missing throws.
Yeah.
It's over the receiver's head, or where he throws it really low on the ground. If you saw, the only best throw I seen from him last game against the Carolina Panthers game was that throw that Mike Evans did, where he dropped it. That was a good bomb. But again, he's missing throws, and he's not the same. He's not the same. That's all.
No. My take on it is this. Ever since I want to say 2017, 18, the NFL has slowly become a league to where these quarterbacks who are known as pocket passers, to where they have the perfect O-line, the greatest O-line you've ever seen, and they could easily just throw the ball downfield. That doesn't work anymore. You need to be able to have legs. You gotta run. A guy like Tom Brady, I remember the one time he ran, it was like maybe 8 yards, he breaks his knee brace. Knee brace just snaps. He's not used to it. This is probably why players like Drew Brees and Ben Roethlisberger aren't in the league anymore. Because Ben Roethlisberger at the time was a good runner, but he's certainly not elite. He's not.
He wasn't like Allen, because they compared it to Allen's. They're like the same size, but Allen's more mobile.
Yeah, Allen is a lot. Yeah, Allen's a lot more mobile, but I do see a little bit of Big Ben in Josh Allen. I do agree with you. I 100% agree with that.
And he was pretty mobile in his prime.
Yeah, exactly. He was, but not mobile enough to make it in this era of the NFL, because there's mobile and then there's mobile.
Yeah.
Like Kyler Murray, say what you want about his arm, because he's not looking too great, but he is a fast guy.
Oh my God, yeah.
He is a great runner. Yeah, we'll get to that topic in a second, because he's currently watching the Thursday Night Football game. But I think for Brady, that's his problem. It's shown that because here's what I've been saying, ever since he went to the Buccaneers, it's been the exact same story. If he does not have like the perfect O-line, like a freaking brick wall guarding him, he is not playing well. You're right, he's overthrowing, he's getting picked off, he's getting sacked. He doesn't know how to scramble. I think it is his time to hang it up. I think he's had a great career, but it's his time to hang it up. And unfortunately, you're right, Jake. They might still make the playoffs, because the Panthers and the Falcons are absolutely garbage. And the Saints don't get me started on the Saints. Andy Dalton with that one pick, with the Falcons corner just diving straight into the
Cardinals, yeah.
Yeah, Cardinals, excuse me, diving straight into the end zone for a pick 6. That was really funny. As for the Packers, you're right. I don't know. They need to bring it back. Here's the thing, the excuse should not be, Davante Adams isn't there. Because Aaron Rodgers is one of the most talented quarterbacks of all time. Everyone knows that. He is an incredibly talented quarterback, but I officially feel that his time is up. Because if you look at what the Packers are doing, they are running this kind of hero ball mentality, to where instead of handing the ball off to Aaron Jones let him run 10, 15 yards, Aaron Rodgers just throws the ball. And it's not working. He's been in the league long enough. These defenses know what he does. They can read the plays. But the fact that he lost 3 in a row losing to the Giants and the Jets was a bit strange. It made it sound like, are the Jets and Giants good? Then they lose to the Commanders. And as a Jet fan, I even said, no, we're not good. The Packers are bad. But it's so crazy to hear us even say that the Green Bay Packers are a bad team, because you almost never hear that. It's been like 30 years since they've been a bad team. Like, it really is amazing. But I do think it's the end of the Packers and the Buccaneers era. Now, a Packers and Brady era.
More of a separate the Rodgers and
Rodgers and Brady era. Excuse me. Speaking of quarterbacks, Here we go. This has been something that's been going on for weeks. Currently, Kenley is watching the Thursday night football game against the Buccaneers and the Ravens. A few weeks ago, at a sports media club meeting, I referred to Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens quarterback, as not as elite as the other quarterbacks in the league. This debate is happening now. Yeah, he's got his popcorn right. Hey, you're gonna have to moderate. You ain't free on this.
I'm gonna jump in, but this is mainly between you two. So you guys are gonna start while Justin fixes his computer charger that fell out. That was what the big bang was. Kenley vehemently disagrees with Justin. He thinks Lamar is one of the best quarterbacks in the game. So, gentlemen, I want to hear. So, Justin,
no, I want Kenley. He's my guest. I want him to start first.
No, it's all right.
I insist after you. No, I insist after you.
Come on.
All right. Yeah. All right. How about this, Kenley? Let's have you start, and you say why you're taking the side that you are with Lamar Jackson.
What your opinion? I have him start. I'm gonna see his opinion.
Okay.
All right.
Here's my opinion. Lamar Jackson is not a bad quarterback. Whoever thinks that I said it, that I meant that, I did not. Lamar Jackson is a good quarterback. That is my main statement. However, I look at his career, and I just kind of see 2019, and that's it. I think 2019 is the only year when he's actually done when he's actually made some kind of impressive steps into his career. And from that point forward, it's been going slightly downhill. And now after 3 games of utterly choking against teams, because you can't just all blame the defense, you gotta point at Lamar Jackson as well. And then barely beating the Cleveland Browns, I put Lamar Jackson's skill onto how high is he in the terms of best quarterbacks in the league into question.
Okay, and I understand that. When you say that right now, my counter to that, I agree. I understand why most people see 2019 is because, he was able to be good in both sides in the offense. Throwing the ball and running the ball. He threw for 36 touchdowns in that year, 6 interceptions, and I believe he also was able to run for 1,000 yards.
Yeah,
so almost 2,000 yards.
That was a couple of thousand yards. It was a very impressive 2019 MVP. It was 100% deserved MVP.
But what nobody wasn't talking about, he was throwing for 3,000 yards at the same time, which is pretty incredible. But you don't win MVP if he's such. I know you never said he was a bad quarterback, but you don't win MVP if you're a bad quarterback. You obviously, you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And you never said that. But the thing is, what got me before we had this conversation today was say it was a little bit inaccurate. I get you. He was inaccurate the first year, but I feel like now, where you guys are wrong, he's improved. I don't know why you said that after that Ravens-Giants game, but when you said it, you're a Giants fan, right?
I'm a Jet fan.
Giants.
Jets.
When you guys said that, it made it seem that for you, especially Jake, it made it seem like you didn't have doubt in your team. You made it seem that your defense wasn't all that special.
I definitely have doubt in the Jets. I'm a Jeff. I have as much doubt in the.
Oh yeah, I don't believe in the Jets for anything.
I'm not going to believe in the Jets until they show me something.
That team out. The Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens blew the Jets out, but did not beat the Giants. But when you think about it, the Jets are a much better team than the Giants. Really.
Probably on paper they are
and
probably
I feel like
better.
Lamar did gave that game away. He did. He blew it, but. You just went and judged that one game. You just saw he's terrible. But you weren't seeing the first 2 games. It's like all of a sudden we're hearing these negative comments now about Lamar.
I'm not necessarily making my comments just on that. I'm also making my comments based off his performance against the Dolphins, against the Bills, even against the.
What did he do in the Dolphins? He took over in that game. He took over.
But they still choked. They were up by what? By three touchdowns. By 3 touchdowns. I get it, the defense is also at fault for that, but at some point you also need to look at Lamar Jackson and say, okay, now you need to put more points on the board. And then when that point came, he did not come through.
He was on fire. I felt like he was
the first 3 quarters he
he was on fire.
He's unstoppable. My thing with Lamar is when it matters, I haven't loved what I've seen. In 2019, what he did, I thought I was literally watching
Burrow against 2 weeks ago. Burrow.
Yeah,
Burrow's supposed to be the guy that's supposed to be. They're calling him Brady. He's supposed
That's a stretch.
That's the thing. Like, you're calling this guy, I'm not going to say it like that, but let me put it like this. All right? Sorry to cut you off.
No, good.
In that game, we expected Burrow to be the type of guy to have the ball in his hands last, get his team in field goal range, or score a touchdown. He has Jamar Chase, the weapons, Mixon, and everything. You know, he has all them boys and stuff like that in his offense. He has gadgets, right? But at the end of the game, it wasn't him that had the ball. He did his part, but Lamar had to do his part. And when it came down for him to have the ball in his hands, to make the plays, he did what he had to do with his legs and passing, you know? I get it. He can be a little bit inaccurate at times, especially down the clutch in the fourth quarter. But let's talk about the things he has done. He's capable of doing it. We've seen it in the past against teams against.
He's absolutely capable.
Absolutely, I say the talent.
Burrow, Allen, he's beating them all.
The thing is this: the talent is there. I will never doubt that the talent for Lamar Jackson is there. But the problem is that when the time comes for it to actually supposed to be there, it's not. Because the thing is this, you can be great in all 3 quarters, but in the fourth quarter where you have to close it out and you're not playing well, it doesn't matter. Look at the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl. 28-3 in the third quarter.
That's Matt Ryan. Look where he is now. He just got benched.
Well, he's also almost 40 years old. There's a difference.
His career's over.
His career's over. He's almost 40 years old. That's a different story. We're talking about a quarterback who's currently in his prime. And for one other thing, because you did bring up Joe Burrow, here's the difference. Joe Burrow, no MVP. No MVP to his name. The only thing he has is Comeback Player of the Year as an award.
All right.
Has absolutely zero O-line.
Their O-line got worse. I think that was possible.
It got worse, and he made it to the Super Bowl before Lamar Jackson, who has a way better O-line than he does.
All right, but weapons. Having the gadgets.
He had Marquise Brown. That's a weapon.
Not really.
Marquise Brown, Hollywood's a weapon.
He's very good. He's not Cooper Kupp,
but
he's
Mark
very
Andrews?
good.
That was their number one for receiver-wise.
Mark Andrews is a top 3 tight end in the league.
You only has him. Why you want to throw to a tight end down the seam most of the time? You want to throw mostly outside the numbers, and he's capable of doing that. He did it with Marquise Brown, right? But that's not a guy that you want to throw it to constantly and outside through the numbers. You want a guy like Jamar Chase, a guy like Mike Williams, Keenan Allen throwing to the outside the numbers. Not a guy like Marquise Brown, where you really want to use him across the field, because that's why he went to the Cardinals. Because with Murray, he was able to in that offense, Cliff Kingsbury's offense, they were able to use him in a certain way that Baltimore wasn't able to use him, and it's just different. He's the number 2 there. Who's number 1? D-Hop. That's something Lamar doesn't have.
Now that he's back,
you get what I'm saying? I feel like the offense now it's fresh now with Bateman being the number 1 and then Devin Duvernay being the number 2. He can throw it somewhere in between and outside the numbers, you know. And I feel like there's still more you can have, you know. The running game you can have that, but down the field he's gonna need to make more plays down the field, obviously, but. These weapons that Baltimore is giving them, it's a shame. You know, they should be ashamed of themselves. I know you don't want to be spending all these money on the receivers, but just imagine what he could do damage. He could do damage.
He absolutely can. And, like, he does not have the weapons that, let's say, Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow has. But my one knock on him, I think he's an excellent player. I do. Going back to your point in the last segment about how, like, you got to be able to make plays with your legs. He does it better than anybody. I think a big thing is these guys, like, when they get older and their arm isn't the same, if they have their legs to fall back on, it's a plus, which is why Tom Brady and guys like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, you go down the list, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Drew Brees, they at the end, Ben Roethlisberger, because they didn't have the legs to fall back on. Once they lose their arm, they might as well retire because they got nothing left. At least guys like Lamar, Mahomes, Allen, because they can move their legs even when they get 35, 37, and
they will have their arms to throw.
Yeah, they'll have obviously they have some of the strongest ones we've ever seen, but also they'll have their legs to fall back on.
By then, Lamar, let's just hope that we have a good receiving core so we can be able to push the ball downfield.
Yes, and my one concern with him, in the playoffs, he's 1-2. He's 1-3. He has not impressed me in the playoffs.
You gotta get more playoff wins, man.
Yeah, he's got to win the playoffs, and just when the game's been on the line so far in his career, I have not been impressed with him at all.
Yeah. And
if he can put up all the regular season numbers he wants, he can run for 5,000 yards. I don't care if he's gonna in the playoffs crap the bed. If he's gonna crap the bed worse than Amber Heard crap the bed, I don't care. It means absolutely nothing. Nada.
And
nothing.
Over.
Nothing. So he's got to be better, but it matters most. And by the way, $250 million he was offered, and he said no.
He wanted to bet on himself.
He wanted to bet on himself. He tried to be Aaron Judge, and so far it really hasn't worked. I don't like. Also, he's a very good quarterback. Does he deserve to be paid? Yes, but $250 million? Come on. I think that's a bit of a stretch.
Let's see what happens from here on out.
You never know. If he turns around from here on, looks like he is in 2019, he might be worth that. But if not, if I'm
talking about regular season, what about playoffs? Well, let's say if they get to the playoffs, he got to win. That's where he gets the money. That's where he gets the money.
Yeah, if he can turn around, get into the playoffs, and play well in the playoffs, absolutely. But if not, I'm not giving them. I'm not giving them probably more than. I'm not even sure if I'm going to give him 40. And he wants 50.
All right.
We will see. That was a very fun debate.
Yeah, no, I guess my final thoughts I just want to make is this. Once again, Lamar Jackson, great quarterback. I don't doubt that he will be the
let me do you a favor, right, real quick. I know you were gonna close. Sorry to cut you off. There's something I needed to say. Name a guy. I'm gonna name a QB, and you're gonna just say if they're better than Lamar Jackson. All right. Once I name the QB, it's gonna be either yes, he's better than Lamar Jackson, or no,
he's not. I got you.
So
all right,
like that, like what Calvin Howard would do. Okay, first QB, Dak Prescott.
No. Oh yes, he is better. Excuse me. No, he's not better than Lamar Jackson.
Daniel Jones.
No.
It's just Zach Wilson.
Right now, no.
Tom Brady.
Right now, yes. No.
Aaron Rodgers.
No.
Really?
Not right now.
Not right now.
Career-wise, obviously.
What you're giving me players that are
right now, yeah.
Well, you're giving me players that are either B-tier players or players that are in the final stretch of their career.
Okay. Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
Josh Allen.
Yes.
Joe Burrow.
Yes.
Justin Herbert.
Yes.
That's the one that gets me off. That takes me off. Justin Herbert has not sniffed the playoffs.
You're right.
That's not all on him either.
You're right. You're right. That's all. You're right. It's also not all on him.
His coach didn't call a timeout.
Yeah, exactly.
Brandon
Staley's bad.
Analyst is just projecting that he's going to be great.
Here's the thing. In terms of rushing and passing, the one thing that puts Justin Herbert over Lamar Jackson is that deep ball passing. That is what puts him over Lamar Jackson.
Both got arms, but him constantly being able to throw it.
Well, thing is, Justin Herbert has more of a cannon. That's why I'm taking him over Lamar Jackson. Because at the end of the day, a quarterback's job is not to run the ball; it is to throw it. And yes, I did say before that we are going into an era to where to where you do have to
Yes.
do both. But
And Herbert can move a bit.
yeah,
Not like
yeah,
Lamar. He can
exactly.
move.
He can move a bit, and currently, but the problem is this: if my quarterback is leading in a game is leading my team in rushing yards, I'm cutting all my running backs.
Unless he's like Lamar when he ran for Lamar in 2019, obviously he ran for 200 yards, but unless he has a historical running year for a quarterback, yeah, I'm telling like the running backs coach, what are these guys doing? They gotta step up.
Yeah.
All right, got it. All right.
But I do think, look, I do think, so that's, but no, I do think Josh Allen is better. I think Josh Allen is probably the best quarterback in the league right now in terms of rushing and passing. But I will give Lamar Jackson the best in rushing.
All right.
All right, so that's the Lamar Jackson segment. Let's move on. Let's shift gears to basketball. So there are 3 teams that, on paper should probably be a lot better than they are. Well, at least 2. And they are not. Those 3 teams are the Brooklyn Nets, are only 1-3.
Brooklyn Nets are only, so we're done. We talking about 3 teams, right? Brooklyn Nets are 1-3.
The Philadelphia 76ers are only
1-4.
Are now 1-4, and the Los Angeles Lakers are 0-4.
They are 0-4. Yes, they are. So let's do it again, guys. Let's play the blame game. Whose fault? Whose fault?
In what?
So
where?
that's what I'm going to say. So let's start off. We'll go from bad to worse. Whose fault is it for the Brooklyn Nets?
They could have lost. They could have been like 0-4 right now. You know what I'm saying? So for me starting off, it's got to be Ben Simmons. I understand that he. The thing is, I understand that he hasn't played basketball for a while, right? But then again, he had the off season, and I understand Kyrie being disappointed in the media, asking all these questions, but we did hear him say, "Ben, shoot the ball." He can shoot. He can make a play from where he was in that moment in the game.
Or at least he should.
Yes, you're right, Justin. And I just didn't like the fact. I get that he's defending him. That's a good sign. That's a good sign of the team coming together. But you got to understand that with this team, I just feel like it should mesh well. People got to play their spots. I feel like Ben should be bringing up the ball more, being the playmaker that he is. Kevin Durant's going to do what he does, but does his 30 points mean something when you have a guy like Ben Simmons not being active? Does that mean something? Or, Kyrie's been slacking a little bit, fumbling the ball a little bit. But at the end of the day, they're going to figure it out. They're going to figure it out come playoff time. So, but it's still going to be tough when you have a team like Milwaukee who's going to get after you defensively. And, they're going to they're going to get after you. Giannis is going to play balls off. But, yeah, so they got to play better.
Yeah, Brooklyn, that looks like a massive love. Ben Simmons in his first 3 games, he had 17 points and 14 fouls in 3 games. He fouled out in 2 of the first 3 games. He looks a little lost for sure. Okay, his job is not to score the basketball. He does not have to score on that team, and that should not be his job. He should be playing he should be playing forward, and his job is to be a lockdown defender, get the ball to KD, get the ball to Kyrie, grab some rebounds, get the ball to KD and Kyrie, and the scorers on the team. But like when you have an open lane for a wide open layup, in the NBA you can't not take it. Like an NBA player should be able to make that no problem. And he almost looks scared to go to the basket, which is definitely a concern. And I don't think this team is that good. The people realize this team is not that good. Kevin Durant is an incredible player. Kyrie Irving is an incredible player. If Ben Simmons is used correctly, he can, on paper, help that team. Will he? Probably not. But on paper, he can. They have some other role players around them. Steph Curry. Nick Claxton, T.J. Warren. So on paper, honestly, on paper, this team should come out of the Eastern Conference, but they're not going to. They're just not. Kyrie's going to get hurt. Kevin Durant's going to get hurt. Ben Simmons, something will come up. I don't know if all three of us will be on that team come the trade deadline. Kyrie's contract will end after the season. I don't care if Durant has 27 years left on his contract. I don't think he really wants to be there. And Ben Simmons, the Nets might just be like, this guy freaking sucks. Get him off my basketball team. So I don't know if those three guys will be on the team come the trade deadline. And their depth is better, but it's still, I don't think they have enough. And like, Katie's has been good for like 40 or 50 games out these last couple of years, ever since the Achilles. Kyrie's been good for 40, 50 games out of the season since his career started, really, at least since he left Cleveland. And Ben Simmons, I don't think we can trust. So this team, I think, is a playing team. I don't think they're that good.
So whose fault is it? Whose fault they're playing bad?
I think it's a combination. Ben Simmons definitely needs to take a lot of the blame. I mean, they get rid of Harden, who was still a great player. He averaged 22 points a game for the Nets. And they get Ben Simmons, who doesn't play a single freaking game for really no reason. And he's getting Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first rounders for James Harden just is not even close to enough. And just, Steve Nash is not an NBA caliber head coach. That's just a fact. He's not. And just, show Marks, I don't know even what he does. KD put this team together, and I think KD needs a bunch of blame because he put this team together. He signed off on Steve Nash. He wanted Kyrie. He wanted Harden out of there. I'm not sure if he wanted him out of there, but he clearly didn't have a huge problem with it. He was fine with getting Ben Simmons, and look what happened.
Yeah, what I'm gonna try to say is that I think all of them are to blame. I think this is a 100% team failure because I don't think anyone on that team has been impressive enough to call them a good team. The one big issue, though, which is why I do mainly blame Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, is because you have not one, but 2 players who do not want to be there. They don't. They've already confirmed they don't want to be there because both of them over the summer wanted out. So that behavior can rub off in different spots. It can rub off on the field. It can rub off in the locker room. I think a major part of their failure is the fact that the fact that Katie and Kyrie are just pissed off to play for them. And look, there's some teams that I can let slide that they lost to. Memphis Grizzlies are a great team. I'm not going to make it an issue that they lost to them. I'm not going to even make it an issue that they lost to the Bucks. The Pelicans?
Down Ingram and Zion, right?
No, they had Ingram and Zion because that was the first game.
So.
But here's the thing. Ingram and Zion are both good players. It should not be enough to beat KD and Kyrie. It should not. To be that caliber of team, it shouldn't. The Raptors, I know you're a Raptors fan, Kenley. They're looking great. But KD and Kyrie should not be losing to them.
No, but this is 30 points means something, and especially in that game. Let's take a deep dive into it, right? With this team. Every team is all about getting that superstar, cheating. I wouldn't say cheating, but trying to find that super team so they can get that.
Trying to buy the way, yeah.
Yeah, going over their cap. Yeah,
and
going over their cap.
All these teams are doing, and they're making mistakes. But Toronto's one of those teams that's going to grind it out. They're an organic team. They're gritty.
Yeah, they got that dog in them. I do like the Raptors. I do like the Raptors.
So when we talk about playoffs and them going far, can they do it with what they have? But in that game specifically, they literally Brooklyn Nets nearly could have lost. But in that game, do you really? Yeah, Kyrie and KD scoring is crucial down the line. But really, what I saw in that game, when you look closely, Claxton getting those boards, those key offense rebounds is what helped them, aided them to get those second chances because that Raptors defense is tight. Mm-hmm. For them to survive that game, they got really lucky there. And that's why I said they could have been 0-something. Mm-hmm. And with Ben Simmons not playing well, with what he used to be, well, he never used to be really much of anything like a scorer. He's just a playmaker. But then again, what I saw was Claxton saving their butts, and same for Royce O'Neal, and really on the defensive side, and that was the key of them winning. I really think they're gonna had to rely on their defense and trust Katie and Kyrie to score those points. But will it mean something? If some, I think it's they're really missing Curry. We're missing Otto Porter, but they're missing Curry. And I think when you think about it, what they need to acquire is some another big, Dwight Howard, something like that, because that's what's not helping them in the interior, the paint.
Yeah, they need more size. They need a little bit more depth. I'm gonna skip the Sixers because I just don't trust the process. That's a simple thing. They're just bad. They're just bad all over the place.
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey, I don't know.
Maxey's looking better than like game one, but not good enough.
It's me.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's all right. Like, it's me. The reason why I say that, he didn't do well in the Pacers game. But then he comes back and performs in the Toronto game.
Yeah, he played well in the Raptors game.
He did.
To his credit, he did play well in the Raptors game.
But it was just a me, because he needed to prove that he needed to be better from that Pacers game when he should have been better. And it's the way it is, I feel like they're on the borderline of rebuilding. What do you guys think?
I think my opinion is this, and I'm sorry, Jake, but I think I'm going to have to steal your thunder here. Joel Embiid's the problem. Joel Embiid is the problem.
He's reckless, man.
Because Brett Brown isn't there anymore, so you can't say it's bad coaching. It didn't work with Ben Simmons. You had Jimmy Butler. It didn't work. You now have James Harden. James Harden's actually playing well in Philly for once. He's actually playing well in a different team that isn't Houston, and it's not working. So what's the excuse now? Who's the fallback? At this point, who's the scapegoat? And because at this point, it's Joel Embiid.
It's got to be Doc Rivers.
It's
Doc as well.
I think it's Doc or Joel Embiid. It's not Harden. It's not Maxey. It's either Joel Embiid or Doc Rivers.
Maybe Tobias.
I'm not high on Tobias, but I don't think it's his fault.
I mean, yeah, he's there. He's their third or fourth option. But the thing with Embiid, he had Jimmy Butler. It didn't work. He got Ben Simmons. It didn't work. He's gotten James Harden so far. Obviously, he's got time. He's got the rest of the year. It hasn't worked so far. So it's like first, they kicked Brett Brown out of there. Then they were like, oh, Jimmy Butler wasn't a good fit. Then like, oh, Ben Simmons wasn't a good fit. Then they got him. They got Doc Rivers, and now they're saying, oh, Doc's not a good fit, which I agree with. He's a very overrated coach. And now they're saying, oh, Harden's not a good fit. These are all true, but at some point, who can they put next to Embiid that's going to work? They've tried everything. At some point, he's never out of the second round.
No, he's never made it out of the second
round.
I think when was he drafted? 2017. He's never made it out of the second round since.
Come on.
No conference finals. The Sixers are just not.
No, they're not.
And I don't think they can have second round this year either.
America guys gotta trust the process, though.
Yeah, trust it. Yeah, it must have been a 30-year-long process. This is a long process.
Poor Sam Hinkie.
I remember to find a parking spot at 2:00 at Martia Line at Sacred Heart quicker than their process, and that's saying something because that's impossible. Holy moly, this process is too long.
Before I leave, I just want to say this to you guys: this Eastern Conference. I'm just gonna say it's deep, and I'm gonna call it the petty conference because people, because you know why? Teams that are good, that are in the top of the food chain, they want to beat the teams that are good as them already from right now. It's right from the get go, and if they don't do that, the media's gonna start chirping. They're gonna start chirping already, and the start of the season when it really doesn't matter. But it's a petty conference. People want to get teams back. Teams slipped away from other teams, good teams. So it's petty conference. That's what I just want to say right now, and that's what I think. It's the petty conference. The Western Conference is still good, but the East, it's interesting this year. Who's gonna get out? Who's gonna get out of this conference? It's really interesting, more so than the West.
It really is anyone's game at this point in the East. That's what makes it so good.
So yeah, I can't wait, and see you guys later.
All right, thanks for
thank you, Kenley, for joining us.
Yep.
Thanks again.
Yeah, good debate.
Good debate. Was clean, well clean.
Yep, clean, respectful. Love it.
Respectful. Thank you guys for having
me. No problem.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you,
debate.
guys.
Good debate. Thanks, Kenley.
No problem. That's Kenley.
There's Kenley, Pierre, third time. Is your backpack in here, or is that
That's mine.
I left it. Yeah.
that Jake's? Okay, got it.
Yep.
All right, see you, Kenley. All right. So now, because he did bring up conferences, so it's you just close the door.
My headphones reach. They will. Hopefully I don't choke myself out doing this. Pretty good.
So he did bring up the East and the West. So let's talk about the big team. This I feel is going to be open up for debate. Whose fault is it for the Los Angeles Lakers going 0-4? Now granted, they did play the Warriors, who were obviously the reigning champions, but they lost to the Clippers, who played Kawhi for like 14 minutes. They had the Blazers, who's literally Damian Lillard and friends. And then there's the Denver Nuggets tour. Yes, they do have the back-to-back MVP and Nikola Jokic. And Jamal Murray is back. And friends. That's who they have. So, Jake, whose fault? Let's play the blame game. Whose fault is it?
Okay. The answer to this question, this is all kind of similar to the next where it's a team failure. Other than that, it's kind of hard to point at one guy. Like, yeah, KD's been...
Darvin Ham's fault. No.
KD's been a bit of a baby. Kyrie's been a bit of a baby. You got Nash, Simmons. But I think it's LeBron James. And here's why. I see the opposing point, but
I love the rant. I'm ready
this
for it.
is LeBron's team. La GM, la coach, la assistant coach, la bench coach, la equipment manager, la player,
La owner.
la owner, la whatever the heck. He wanted Russ. He wanted Russ here. You got Russ. And Russ has sucked. He sucks. Get him off the NBA 75. He should not sniff the Hall of Fame. Triple-double record, my backside. Was a great player. He sucks. And Russ deserves a lot of blame. They brought him here to be the missing piece. And he has been horrendous. And Anthony Davis, he has not lived up to expectations at all. That man looks like, he looks lost. I don't know what happened to Anthony Davis. But this team is as poorly put together as you possibly can. As it could possibly be put together. And this is LeBron's team. LeBron put this team together. He runs the show. What was the point of firing Frank Vogel? What does that do for you? Okay, Darvin Ham is not a good fit for this team. The Lakers need an experienced coach that can, handle all these personalities. LeBron, AD, Pat Bev, Russ. And they bring in a young guy who's never done this before in Darvin Ham. But because LeBron runs the team, that's what's going to happen. Look at the names that are brought up. They brought up Jawan Howard. Jawan freaking Howard they brought up.
Fab Five.
Jawan Howard. Are you kidding me?
Well, on that Fab Five team, everyone on that team looked like they should have been NBA caliber.
Yes, but
to Jawan Howard's defense, which I don't do often, that Fab Five should have made strides in the NBA.
They should have, and he's done a good job at Michigan. He truly has. First of all, get him some anger management classes, and two, look how many colleges have failed in the NBA. Look at what happened to John Beeline, the guy who was there before him. He got a 5-year deal. He was there for like 30 games. That was a freaking dumpster fire.
Look at Kemba Walker.
He's a player, but still, he was gonna bring him in because he's friends with LeBron. Because they needed. I think Vogel was a fine fit for them. They needed a guy, someone with experience. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. Steve Clifford would have been a better option. Steve Clifford. His last name is Clifford.
Lloyd Pierce.
Honestly, he would have been Damian, whatever who's the coach? Darvin Ham. Darvin, whatever his name is. Come on.
Darvin Turkey.
Whatever his name is, he's not a good fit. I don't even know if he's an NBA caliber head coach. I liked him in Milwaukee as an assistant. He's been a top candidate for a while, and I do think he's not going to be a Logan in 2 years. He's just not. I don't know if he'll be there here next week, knowing LeBron. But I do think if he gets a second shot, he could make it work. But here, it's not going to work. He looks like a man who's like, what did I get myself into? By the way, this team is historically bad shooting the basketball. They could not the best. It could be the size of this room, and they still wouldn't make it. I think LeBron leads them in three-point percent. He's shooting like 27%. AD is scared to go to the hoop. Dude, you're 6'11". No one is stopping you outside of Giannis. Go to the rim. And he can't shoot. And then Pat Bev, not a good fit. This team needs shooters. Let's go out and get a defender. Let's not resign Malik Monk, your only shooter, and let's bring in a defender. Have a great defender, one of the best defenders among guards. And like he's shooting a lot, he's missing, but you can't even blame him. That's not what he's there for. But there's no one else to shoot the ball. Like, who's shooting the ball? Not Matt Ryan, and not that Matt Ryan. He was driving for DoorDash 2 years ago. Freaking DoorDash! DoorDash! They have a DoorDash driver.
I'm gonna have to stop.
That's
you
a
right
great
there
story, but why are they
Kurt,
counting on him to shoot the basketball?
Look at Kurt Warner, Super Bowl winning quarterback, was scanning groceries a year. But
Matt Ryan ain't Kurt Warner. He's not doing anything. This team is poorly put together, and it's on LeBron James. This team should be exploded. Get AD out of there. Get Russ out of there. Fire Ham. Fire Pelinka. Get Pat Bev out of there. Just blow this team out. This team is garbage. Their season might be over by December.
Oh, wow, okay. Well, I agree with you, but I also partially do not.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you in the sense to where it is, in fact, I definitely think it is LeBron James's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, he wanted all these players. He literally did trade a majority of their depth away for Russell Westbrook. You had guys like Kyle Kuzma, who's looking good in Washington. You had Alex Caruso, who's looking good on the Bulls, and he's probably one of the best rotational pieces you could have in the NBA right now. You had Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who was good on that team, and you got rid of all of them for Russell Westbrook, who's old and just out of his prime. They also got Carmelo in that as well last year, where he's not even on the team anymore. It is LeBron James's fault because, as you said, he wanted all of them, and it clearly did not work. Rob Pelinka is merely LeBron James's puppet. Yeah. That is what he is. And my thing that I don't agree with you on is Darvin Ham, because on paper, Darvin Ham was the assistant coach for a team that won a championship. That's a pretty good look. It's the exact same look with Ime Udoka.
Yeah.
To you were on a team, you were the assistant coach for one of the greatest coaches of all time. Yeah. So clearly you have some kind of championship mentality and you know what it takes to win. Now I agree. I don't think Frank Vogel should have been fired. If in my conspiracy theory, I know it is. It's a Kyrie Irving level one, but I think LeBron did have him fired.
Of course he did.
I think he did. But Darvin Ham, I don't think is the problem. It is not. Because even when Frank Vogel was there in 2021-2022 season, their whole problem was a lack of depth.
Yeah. And
it somehow got worse. They somehow made it worse. Because you're right, they don't have any shooters. They're shooters like Matt Ryan. They're shooters like Matt Ryan and Austin Reeves. That's pretty much it. If anyone is watching this, looks up a video, look up logo LeBron, and you will see the shot to where they just happened in this recent Portland Trailblazers game that they played against them, to where LeBron had to where there was like 13 seconds left on the shot clock, 11 minutes left in the second quarter, and he decides to shoot from the logo, and he airballs it. My personal opinion, I think he's stat padding. I think he's stat padding. He wants that. He wants that all-time scoring. That he wants to be number one, that all-time scoring. He wants to pass Kareem. It's a whole got my 25 thing. If he gets 1,000 points, if he gets me 1,000 points, he'll make it. He'll be over Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, which is an impressive feat. But just one thing to all Lakers fans out there, to all LeBron James fans out there. Even if LeBron James gets number 1 on the all-time scoring list, he is not the GOAT. He's not. Because the one difference is, few things. Well, actually, one main thing. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did not shoot a three-pointer.
Never. Not one.
Never shot a three-pointer, and he's number 1 all-time in scoring. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is better than LeBron ever was and ever will be. And that is a fact. This is not a hate on LeBron hour. Okay, it kind of is a hate on LeBron hour. Okay, it's definitely a hate on LeBron hour. But we're not saying it just because.
Yeah.
We don't say anything. We say some things on these shows based off our own opinion. But just look at what the Lakers are doing now. On paper, a team led by LeBron James, who's supposed to be this natural-born leader, should not be 0-4.
No.
With a guy like Russell Westbrook on your team, who was one of the greatest guards to ever play basketball in Oklahoma City, they should not be 0-4. When you have Anthony Davis to where when healthy is a top 3 forward in the league, should not be 0-4. That is just a measly fact, and that leads us directly to our NBA power rankings.
Yeah, and one more thing on Kareem. When Kareem set the all-time points record, that did not make him the GOAT. And if it does, that didn't even, if you didn't make Kareem the GOAT, it damn sure shouldn't make LeBron the GOAT.
No, absolutely. So here's what we're going to do. It's you and I. So let's take the standings right now and forget about them for the NBA. Here, so we're going to make it different because we want to piss people off. We're not going to start from number 1. We're going to start from 30th. Because here's what happens. If I put a team at 11th, that means that they one of your favorite teams is not top 10. If I put it if I put somebody at 6th, it means one of your favorite teams is not a top 5. And if I put them at 4th, then that doesn't mean they're top 3. And if we put them at 2, then you know damn well that they ain't number 1.
Yeah.
But it's that anticipation. Why start off at 1 when we could just start off at 30?
Yeah.
Weed it out. Weed out the worst ones first. So, let's go back and forth here. So we're going to start off with you, Jake. Who is 30th in the NBA?
Record-wise, I actually think it's the team that record-wise actually right now is the worst in the league. I think it's the Orlando Magic.
Absolutely.
I think they just got nothing. I mean, Cole Anthony's pretty good. First of all, now he's hurt, but even when he's healthy, he's pretty good. I like him, but he's still young. I don't think he's a star. We're still waiting to see what Jalen Suggs is. Marco Fultz isn't that good. Wendell Carter's been better than he was in Chicago, but I'm still not scared by him. I don't think Mo Bamba's that good. Yeah. I like Franz Wagner. These guys just aren't there yet. They just simply aren't.
Paolo Banchero's also looking good, but he's like not enough.
Yeah.
That one's just no question. Just like my pick. 29th, it's the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah.
It is. Chet's out, takes one drive by LeBron James, and immediately just absolutely blows out his knee. They're just going to be 29th. This isn't a team that looks good. I like Shea. Shea's a great player. You should get off that team, in my opinion. Lou Dort is not the answer. Pokusevski, also a good player. Pokusevski, I also think is a pretty good player. Lou Dort, not so much. 28th.
All right.
We're just weeding through these. Yes, sir.
Yeah, 28th. I'm going to say... I'm going to go with the Houston Rockets.
I like that pick.
I really like the two young kids they got, Jalen Green at guard and then Jabari Smith at power forward. But they're still extremely young. Eric Gordon doesn't want to be there. He's on the wrong side of his career anyway.
Eric Gordon looks sad to be there.
He does.
He's looked sad to be there for years.
He has. I can't think of anybody. I can't think of their team. Kevin Porter is a solid role player, but not going to be your first or even your second option. Jayshawn Tate, maybe a third or fourth option, but nothing more. Alfred Sengun, just weird.
Alfred Shin. If anyone's never watched Alfred Sengun play a game of basketball, you should. It's peak comedy. When he gets to the line, he doesn't. Everybody has their own ritual, players like Giannis and Klay Thompson, they do like the practice shot. They do like the fake practice shot. Alperen Şengün kisses the ball. Yeah, you guys heard me correctly. He kisses the ball. Really, that is an interesting one. I don't think I've ever seen that one. I don't think I've ever been left speechless before in my life until I saw Alperen Şengün kiss a basketball. 27th. Ooh, you see, this is where it gets a little ballsy.
Yeah.
Like bottom 3 is interesting. Is easy to know. Like we know who's getting Victor Wembanyama. We know who's getting them. 27th, I'm going to put the Indiana Pacers. They lost a big piece in Malcolm Brogdon for one. I didn't like how they lost Malcolm Brogdon. But, Tyrese Halliburton is good. Buddy Hield's good. Benedict Matherin's good. And then it just stops. It's all falls flat from there. I think there are players who are in a better position. There are teams who are in a better position than the Indiana Pacers right now. But they're obviously not the worst team in the league. That's why I'm putting them at 27th.
That's very fair. At 26, are we at?
Yeah, 26th.
Ooh, this is where it gets a little tricky. I'm going to say the Detroit Pistons.
I was about to say that.
They, again, this is another team that's got a lot of young talent and they're rebuilding. I think Jaden Ivey was an excellent pick to get him at 5. I thought he should have went at least in the top 4.
He's looking like a rookie of the year right now. He is really good.
Probably is rookie of the year right now, and he was my pick in the preseason. I do like Cade. Those two in the backcourt, I think, could do a lot of damage over the next few years. Sadiq Bey is a solid second or third option. They got 2 young big men, Jalen Duren, drafted this year, and Isaiah Stewart. But, after that, I'm not sure if I can even name another player on the team. I mean, I don't think Hamidou Diallo and Alec Burks are making a ton of waves.
No, they're not. But you're right. I think that all they need is another piece, and I think this team becomes a play-in team, or at least higher than one of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, I think they'll be a little bit better. They'll be competitive-ish, but I don't think they even make the plans yet.
No, not yet. But I think they're at a good starting point for once. I feel like Pistons fans can look at this and be happy about what they picked up because it's looking pretty good. 25th, San Antonio Spurs. It's easy.
Yeah.
I don't think you lost Rudy Gay to the Jazz. You lost Lonnie Walker to the Lakers. Well, look how that's working out. Greg Popovich, still an excellent coach. He's probably going to be you lost DeJounte Murray to the Hawks. That's a big loss. I think the only thing that is keeping this team from not being the worst is Greg Popovich. But that's really about it.
Yeah.
24th, Jake. It only gets harder from here, Jake.
I know. For 24th?
Yep.
Some people might think I'm pulling them a little bit too low, but I'm gonna go with the Los Angeles Lakers. I know it's a little low, but this team isn't good. LeBron's a great player, but also, first of all, he's 38 years old. And AD is not himself. Russ is garbage. Pat Beck's a great defender, but he can't score. Reeves is a decent role player, but nothing more. Who else is even on this team? And that's that there's a bunch of scrubs. They're not
Thomas
good.
Bryant.
We
already had.
And the only big men they have are Thomas Bryant and Damian Jones, who both are not good. Maybe Thomas Bryant's a serviceable backup. He started on the Wizards because it was the freaking Wizards, who are probably coming up soon. And Damian Jones is just not good. He very deserves to be in the league. And the team has nothing. So I'm putting the Lakers at 24.
It's kind of funny because I don't know what's funnier, the fact you put them there or the fact that I was going to put them at 23rd. I was thinking about either putting the Jazz or the Kings at 24th. But right now, at 23rd, I'm going to put the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
They picked up Colin Sexton. They picked up Rudy Gay. They had a decent... Colin Sexton is still a good player. Donovan Mitchell's definitely an upgrade on Cleveland, but Colin Sexton's still a good player. Rudy Gay, not good, but not bad. They still have Mike Conley on that team, so I don't like. They clearly are in a rebuild phase, and it looks like they're in a better position than most teams who are going through a rebuild right now. So that's why they're going at 23rd.
And they're at year one of the rebuild.
Yeah, they're at year one of the rebuild.
And for year one of the rebuild, they're off to a good start. But they're not going to make the plans yet. They're at 23rd.
Yeah, they're at 23rd. 22nd.
Oof. I'm going to say I'm between two teams.
I think I know what two teams you're in between right now, but I'm not gonna say them.
I'm gonna say the Washington Wizards.
That's one of them, I thought.
Bradley Beal is a great player. He's one of the best shooting guards in the league. But first of all, I think he's a little overrated.
He
has not done anything in this league. I don't think he's never been out of the second round.
Has he even made it out of the first round?
I think he has, but not even that many times.
Yeah, I think he only did it once with John Wall, but that was it.
Yeah, and just, I like Johnny Davis, the kid that took out of Wisconsin, but he's only a rookie.
I do like Johnny Davis.
They got, Corey Kispert has a chance to be a really good shooter in this league, but he's not there yet. Denny Avdija, I don't love what I see. Rui Hachimura is a bit of a bust. And just after that, Dallas Bertans a pretty good shooter to have on your bench, but nothing more. He's also very inconsistent. Their team just isn't that good.
Yeah, I agree. Now, at 21st, I'm going to take the team that I thought you were also thinking about, and I'm putting the Sacramento Kings at 21st. Right. I really like the moves they made this offseason. I think they're still irrelevant. I think people will still forget about them, but not as much as they used to. They picked up Malik Monk, who was, as we've mentioned, the best shooter on the Los Angeles Lakers, which isn't saying much, but he's still a good player, though. Yeah. They picked up Keegan Murray as a rookie.
Yeah, he's a good player.
And he's a good player. They got Davion Mitchell in last year's draft. They called this kid off night because he could guard any of these great point guards, and they wouldn't have a good night that day because he's that good of a defender. I think this is another one. And they also have Domantas Sabonis, who's also a good center. So once again, this is almost the way I feel about the Pistons. They're in a better position than they were last year, but they still do need work. But I feel like this is just like the Pistons. It's to where it can only get up from here, and they are going in an upward trajectory.
Yeah, they might steal that last playing spot in the West, but the West, after the first few teams, is not good. They might have 35 wins and still get. The Spurs,
yeah, they might.
The Spurs had 34 or 35 wins that had the tendency. That's probably, I think that's the Kings of last year's Spurs. They're not good. Are they going to win 40 games? No. But are they good enough to win 35 and just by the skin of their teeth edge out the freaking Lakers for the 10 seed? Probably.
Yeah. So to cap off the bottom 10, who are you putting?
We're really past all the really, really bad teams.
It only gets decent from here. That's what makes it harder.
What is this, 21?
This year you're at 20. We're at the 20th.
Okay. The really bad teams in the West, we got rid of all of them. Oh man, this is tough.
I can really only think of two teams right now that would be able to fit that spot, and it would be a very valid argument for both. Once again, I'm not going to say them.
I'm going to say the Charlotte Hornets.
There we go.
They have LaMelo Ball. I think is a great player, a really good young point guard. Was an all-star in his only his second year last year. I love him. Taylor Rozier is a very good scoring guard, but he cannot defend. I like P.J. Washington as a third option, but he was a lottery pick. Probably his ceiling is a little limited. Gordon Hayward is never healthy, and after that, there's either a bunch of bench players or young guys whose ceiling isn't even that high.
Yeah. Also, Miles Bridges on that team. He was one of their best players. One of their best. He was a great defender, a great forward, and he's arrested for domestic violence. 19th, I think it's pretty easy. Wait, actually, it's not. Hold on a second.
The middle here is where it's
19th is
nitty-gritty.
tough, but I think. Ooh, you know what? I'm putting the New Orleans Pelicans at 19th because Brandon Ingram's a great player. I think his career truly started in New Orleans because he came out to be a really good player. These young guys like Jose Alvarado are great players. Jonas Valanciunas, incredibly underrated center. Because he actually is an excellent player. And my one concern though is I'm not entirely sold on Zion Williamson yet. Like, he's already out for an injury and he's only played like 2 games. I'm not sold on him yet. But maybe if he does stay healthy and he does show us what he can do for actually, 60 games instead of only 20, maybe they'll be higher next year. 18th, Jake. I think we've weeded out mid. Now it's just who's more mid.
What number is this?
We are at 18th. Like I said, we're weeding through it.
18. I'm gonna say the New York Knicks.
I agree. I'm sorry, Jake. I agree.
I do agree. Okay. Are they better than they were last year? Yes. I like Jalen Brunson. He had a big game against Charlotte. 27 points, 13 assists, and had some big shots in overtime. Think a very good pickup. RJ, a little bit of a slow start this year, but I do think he'll pick it up.
He could be an all-star this year,
especially
after his progression throughout from his rookie year to his second year to his third year, which is last year. Had a great year last year. I think this is the year that he hits all-star.
Yeah, he's a guy who I think could be a star in this league. Fournier's a decent shooter. He's been inconsistent since he's been here. That's continued this year, but he's like an on and off guy. Randall has looked a little better. He has not looked like the guy he was 2 years ago, but he has not looked like the guy he was last year either. And they, I like Mitchell Robinson. They got some pretty good depth. Yeah, with Derrick Rose healthy. This kid Hornstein, the big man they pick up, he's looked good. Obi Toppin's I love him. I like Emmanuel quickly. But just can they make the play-ins? Yes, but when they run into these top teams, they're just overmatched. But can they be the 8 or the 9? Yes. Much more than that, probably not.
I agree. That's all I have to say. You summed up perfectly. Next up, 17th, I'm taking the Minnesota Timberwolves. Because they did have a great offseason with picking up Rudy Gobert. But I'm not scared of the Timberwolves.
No.
Because when Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert, who are both in the starting lineup together, need to sit down, who's going to be that big man?
Yeah.
I do definitely think that starting lineup is a little scary with Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert. They definitely are a team you need to respect a little bit when you play them, especially Rudy Gobert, who's a defensive powerhouse. But I don't look at them and I don't say, you're going, easy playoff.
Yeah.
Like easy Western Conference final berth. Not even close.
And also, Rudy Gobert is an excellent player. 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's probably one of the best defensive big men ever. When he retires, maybe one of the best defensive players ever. I think they overpaid for Gobert.
I think they did overpay for him.
They gave up 5 players and 4 first-round picks, 3 unprotected for a guy who averages 12 or 14 points a game. The outside the paint is pretty much useless.
Yeah.
And also, you name 4 players. D'Lo, Anthony Edwards, Cat, and Gobert.
That's it.
4 excellent players. Who else is on this team?
Jared Vanderbilt. My boy Jared Vanderbilt about to drop.
I think I traded him.
Oh, that's right. They did. They did trade him to the Jazz. Fuck, never mind. All right, well, okay. Well, then I guess...
Jay McDaniels is okay. I do think he has room to improve. But he is not scaring anybody. And they don't have a lot of depth. And they're probably still another player away. And then they don't have the money to add another player. Because they got 3 guys on max contracts in D'Lo, Cat, and Gobert. And they still got to pay Anthony Edwards. So, they just... And also, if you're trading for a guy like Rudy Gobert, giving up those assets, no, it doesn't matter who you get. If you give up the assets they got to get Gobert, the guy you're getting should make you a championship contender. And last year they were the first playing team. They might be in the exact same spot as they were. No worse, but they might still be in the 7th spot.
I 100% agree. You have the 16th pick. Now let me just set the scene for you. Let's weed it out here, okay?
Okay.
It's the Denver Nuggets, the LA Clippers, the Golden State Warriors, Dallas Mavericks, Cleveland Cavaliers, Chicago Bulls, Memphis Grizzlies, Atlanta Hawks, Boston Celtics, Brooklyn Nets, Milwaukee Bucks, Miami Heat, Portland Trail Blazers, Phoenix Suns, Philadelphia 76ers, and the Toronto Raptors. Those are all the teams left. Now remember, Jake, this is why going backwards is better, because what you know is that whoever you pick, it means that somebody's favorite team is not in the top 15. So think about. Well, I like to think of maybe 20th to 16th as the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
As the perfect middle from good teams to bad teams.
Yeah.
So who's going at that 16th spot? I think I know your answer, but I want to hear it.
Okay, I'm not sure. Your reaction's either gonna be you knew it, or you might be like that's a little bit bold. Some people might think I'm playing them a little bit too low, but I'm
already putting them up there. I'm already putting them up there.
I want to say the Brooklyn Nets.
I'm already putting them up there. I'm screen recording this, by the way, so I'm putting this up there.
So, KD and Kyrie are great, but
I agree.
I don't even know if those guys are going to be there on the trade deadline. Ben Simmons is not scoring. The depth is better with you got Steph Curry, you got TJ Warren, Patty Mills, Nick Claxton. It's just not good enough. Max isn't a good coach. There's too many moving parts there.
I agree. I feel like that whole ego issue is also a problem.
That as well.
We already talked about how KD and Kyrie clearly do not want to be there. Their big three is a bunch of babies. I'm sorry to say, but it is true. Kyrie's a baby, KD's a baby, Ben Simmons is a big baby. Their depth is good, but what's depth when you don't use it? I don't like Steve Nash's rotation. Mm-hmm. I'm not sold on guys like Kessler Edwards and Cam Thomas. Seth Curry is a good pickup. TJ Warren is pretty good, but I just don't see this team going that far either, especially since last year. Getting swept by the Celtics, that's just not an impressive look. And I don't think they're looking good this year either. But we'll give them 16th. Now we reach the top 15. And at number 15. Oh God, this is tough.
Yeah, I was thinking. I'm glad I don't have this.
Number 15. Ooh. I am putting the Cleveland Cavaliers at number 15. And it's for a similar but different reason as the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I see where you're going.
Donovan Mitchell is a great player. Great point guard. Needs to show up in the playoffs a little bit more. But in the regular season, he's a fantastic player. Mm-hmm. Karis LeVert, good player. Jared Allen, good player. Darius Garland, good player. Outside of those four, I'm not scared of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't look at them and say that they're going to go super far. I think they're a play-in team, maybe a first-round exit, but I don't think, maybe even second-round exit. But I don't think they clinch an Eastern Conference championship. I don't think they clinch an NBA Finals yet. I think they have a great young core, but they need one more player, and then I think they'll be up there, and I think we will end up putting them higher next year.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I think they might be top 5 in the East, but I don't see them getting in the second round. It's just because, they're gonna end up playing, Milwaukee or Boston or Miami, and they're not gonna. I'm not even sure they get.
I don't have faith in them to go against.
I don't even think they get to a 6th game in that series.
No, I don't think so either.
Number 14. I actually surprised I even had them as high. I'm not the Portland Trailblazers.
By the way, speaking of Portland Trailblazers, I'm so pissed I forgot to talk about CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum's a great player on the Pelicans. Excellent player.
That's right, yeah. Dame Lillard is an amazing player. He's an assassin. They improved this offseason. You pick up Jeremy Grant, who's a really good second or third scorer. I like Anthony Simons, good young guard. He can really shoot the basketball. We got some young guys I like. Nazir Little. Nurkic, when healthy, is a great scorer. But also Nurkic can't stay healthy, and he's probably their second best scorer on that team. And, I'm not so on Chauncey Billups as a coach, only his second year. I didn't like what he did last year. I'll give him a pass with all the injuries. So they are better. I think they're a playing team in the West, but probably nothing further.
You hit the nail right on the head with that one. I do agree. Dame is a great player, though.
Yes.
He deserves I think he deserves a little bit more respect, especially when it comes to an MVP race.
Yeah, I'm split of him. Yes, they have not done enough. The coaches he had Terry Stotts, then he had Terry Stotts, Chauncey Billups. These guys aren't world beaters. Stotts is an okay coach, I think. I haven't loved watching from Chauncey Billups. Outside of CJ McCollum, he hasn't had really any...
He hasn't had a lot of help, no. And he also is very good in the playoffs.
Yeah, yes, but also, I don't want to hear from Dame, you got to put more pieces around me, and then go out and sign a $60 million extension.
That's true. He does need to, he's like, I respect the loyalty, but you can't have it both ways.
Right, yeah.
Number 13. Ooh. Well, this is tough. And at number 13, I am putting, which might be a little low for people, and for that I say you're right, the Chicago Bulls.
I think that's perfect, honestly.
For the rest of the team, and it's strictly for the reason of for the rest of the teams on this panel that we have, I think they look beatable compared to the rest of them.
Yeah.
I feel like they are lacking a little bit in the depth department.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Caruso is a good player. Zach LaVine's a good player. DeMar DeRozan's a good player. Vucevic, good player. Lonzo Ball's hurt. God knows why. Ayo Dosunmu's pretty good. Kobe White's and then everything else from that just kind of goes downhill.
Yeah.
I see second round exit for them.
Probably, yeah. If not.
12th. Now we're getting to the good teams.
Yeah.
Now we're at the good teams.
12.
Who do you dare? What fan do you dare upset at that 12th spot?
I know it's of any fan, but
well, you already did by putting the Lakers at 24.
Yeah, I accepted probably half a state, probably. Oh, Lord. This is tough.
Do you want me to refresh you on who your panel is?
Sure.
The Denver Nuggets, Los Angeles Clippers, Golden State Warriors, Dallas Mavericks, Memphis Grizzlies, Atlanta Hawks, Boston Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks, Miami Heat, Phoenix Suns, Philadelphia 76ers, and the Toronto Raptors.
All right, I'm literally between 3 or 4 teams here for that 12 spot. I am going to say the Toronto Raptors.
Okay, I feel that.
I'm going to see the Toronto Raptors. Shout out to our guest who we had earlier, Kenley Pierre. He's a big Raptors fan. They're a very good team. They got a lot of guys that I like. They're a team that's definitely built the team the right way. Masai Ujiri might be the best basketball operations guy in the entire NBA. There's a reason guys, whether it be the Knicks, the way he did it a couple years ago, try to lure him. That they still there's been teams that have offered him these huge contracts. I think the Wizards at one point offered him part ownership. What he has done is amazing. And Nick Nurse is also a great coach. I love Pascal Siakam, Scotty Barnes, Fred VanVleet,
Gary Trent,
OG Anunoby. They're also a very young team. I think they're just a little inexperienced. In a year or two, this team I think is going to be scary. But right now there's a tiny bit overmatched.
Yeah, I was about to say all they need is maybe one.
Right.
Maybe
that's
two.
It. They
need one or two players, give or take, and they will be a force to be reckoned with. Now I have the problem because I have the
11th spot.
So right. I have the 11th pick, which means whoever team I pick, that means your favorite team, you people watching, are going to are not in the top 10. And the 11th spot goes to the Denver Nuggets. I am taking the Denver Nuggets. Nikola Jokic is an excellent player, one of the best, I think the greatest passing big man of all time. I have never seen a center pass as well as he has. He's a very smart player, an excellent player, and he's a back-to-back MVP for a reason. My only scare is that Jamal Murray is coming off of that ACL injury, where he's going to be slow to come back to form. Michael Porter Jr. can't stay healthy for his life. I don't trust Aaron Gordon with my life. But I do still think they're a good enough team with Jokic and Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. when he's healthy. He's never healthy. To play to take them to that second round. But once again, I think they stop there. And that's how I feel about the Denver Nuggets.
They're a team that whether or not Murray and Porter Jr. are healthy throughout the whole season, and whether they miss a good amount of games, if they can get healthy, by the time the postseason rolls around, they could be scary. But that's just such a big if.
Yeah, and the other thing is that Nikola Jokic will not let them lose a game. He will not let them lose.
No, yeah.
He will die to make that team win.
I know, that poor man.
14th. Oh no, 10th. Excuse me. You're at the 10th.
Got
spot.
starting the top 10. Okay.
We're starting the top 10.
All right. I'm gonna go with the Los Angeles Clippers.
Ooh, spicy. I want to hear your thoughts on that because I want to see what you have to say here.
Okay. They have Kawhi healthy. When healthy, probably the best two-way player in the game. And he's great in the postseason, besides the 1 year when they had level 3 run. He was not great that year. After that, he's been money in the postseason. Got 2 Finals MVPs with 2 different teams. You got Paul George, who when healthy is a great player. And the postseason hasn't been fantastic. Has been much better since that 1 year where he's at the side of the backboard. But still has been a little inconsistent. But after that, they have a couple of guys I like. Zubac is a decent big man. Terrence Mann's a decent rotational piece. Amir Coffey's okay. Luke Kennard's a very good shooter to have in rotation, but their point guards are Reggie Jackson, who's a decent role player, and John Wall, still a decent role player, but much older, just had too many injuries.
He's not good anymore.
Outside of Kawhi and PG, I just don't love what they have, and Paul George, I haven't loved overall what I've seen from him in the playoffs. And I just don't know if Kawhi can stay healthy, battling the whole... Are they going to have to use, the load management stuff? You have time to take some guys off? If so, will that happen again? I'm not as high on Ty Lue as other people are. I think he's a decent coach. I do not think he's a great coach.
I feel that. You hit the nail right on the head once again. I thought it was... it's an interesting pick. I think people do overrate the Clippers a little bit. Like when Kawhi Leonard's on the court, they immediately say top 3 team in the NBA, and they're not. No. They're just not. But they could be, but they're not. Not with Amir Coffey, they're not. Bring back Lou Williams and Pep Bev, and then come back to me and tell me that they're a top 3 team. Then I'll definitely say that. Number 9. God, I have a bold take.
Okay.
I have a bold opinion.
Okay. Let's hear it.
But it's not. But I have to think properly. And the team that's 9th is the Atlanta Hawks.
I think that's a pretty good pick.
But that's not my pick. I had a different pick in mind, but it was not the Atlanta Hawks. Maybe I'll explain it later. Here's the thing. Trae Young, excellent player. DeJounte Murray, excellent player. John Collins, Clint Capella, excellent players. Kevin Huerter, excellent player.
He's not there anymore.
Oh, right, he's not there anymore. That's the problem. See, that's the problem. He's not there anymore. Lou Williams, yeah, still on that team. Still a good bench rotational player. I forgot he wasn't on that team anymore. I'm pissed. I'm a little sad about that. But I think Nate McMillan is still a pretty good coach. I would still trust in him. They might have had a bad season last year, but I'd give him another chance. Because let's remember, as an interim coach, look what he did. They took him to the Eastern Conference Finals. Outside of those players, though, I see second round exit, but I don't really see anything further than that. I feel like they need a couple more I think DeAndre Hunter's also a good player.
Mhm.
I feel like they have more depth than some of these other guys, some of these other teams, but they just think they need a little bit more.
Yeah. They were definitely in a funk last year. They had some injuries. Trey and Dejounte Murray in the backcourt is going to do a lot of damage. And like you said, also having John Collins healthy, I think will help. Capel's a great rebounder, but after that, their team kind of takes a dip.
Yep. They should bring back Kevin Huerter. 8th. Numero ocho, the Octagon.
Man. With the 8th spot.
Do you need a refresher?
Yes, please.
Golden State Warriors, Dallas Mavericks, Memphis Grizzlies, Boston Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks, Miami Heat, Phoenix Suns, and Philadelphia 76ers. It is a very tough panel.
Oh, okay. With the 8th spot. I'm going to say I'm between a couple, mainly two. I'm going to take the Philadelphia 76ers.
I agree. I 100% agree with you. But you tell them why.
Embiid is an amazing player. Probably top 5 in the game. Harden appears to still be a great player. I like Tyrese Maxey. I think a real good scoring guard, real good scoring combo guard. Matisse Thybulle's a great defender. Outside of that, their depth isn't the greatest. Furkan Korkmaz isn't scaring me. I can't even, and just, Embiid has not gone out of the second round. Harden's never been good in the playoffs, and Doc Rivers can't. He's so overrated.
He is overrated.
At the end of the day, maybe they'll be a top 3 team in the East, but at the end of the day, they ain't getting out of the second round. It doesn't matter what happens. Their ceiling is pretty low, so that's why I have them at 8.
All right. At 7th, I'm going to have to make my bold pick. But my second bold pick.
Okay.
Not my first. My second boldest pick. I'm putting the Phoenix Suns at 7th.
Whoa! Please do explain.
I am putting the Phoenix Suns at 7th. Number 1, I did not like the showing that they had against the Dallas Mavericks. And in terms of off-season moves, they barely made any. You have DeAndre and he doesn't want to be there. Devin Booker's still an excellent player. Can't put anything against him. They have some good bench pieces like Cameron Johnson and Cameron Payne. And then, Bisaac Biyombo? Chris Paul's getting old. He doesn't look good. I don't think he looks that good. Monty Williams is a good coach. But I felt like their chances of winning a finals was in 2021, and they did not have it. And I don't see that chance coming back for a while. Unless Devin Booker puts up Wilt Chamberlain numbers, 50 points a game, 20 rebounds, 40 assists per game, I don't think they're winning a championship this year.
Interesting.
Jake, you have the 6th pick, which is another tough one because, as we say before, whoever gets the 6th spot, it means that somebody's favorite team is not top 5. And we have a very difficult top 5 to discuss.
We do. At 6. I'm gonna say it's the Dallas Mavericks.
I agree.
So Luka is an amazing player. He is outstanding, probably top 5 in the game. You adding Christian Wood's an excellent move. He's the scoring big man they needed. I like Tim Hardaway Jr. He's a very good shooter. But I really think losing Jalen Brunson is going to be a pretty big loss for this team. I think a little bigger than people think, because he was like the floor general for them. He did a really good job getting into the hands of Luka. He scored well last year, especially in the postseason. And not having, I think, is a loss. I do like Spencer Dinwiddie as a real good scoring guard, but he's coming off the bench. And think Jason Kidd's a decent coach. I think they're very good, but they're not going further than they finished last year.
Absolutely. I think they could be a dark horse, but I don't see it.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm using my bold pick to kick off number 5 in the NBA. I am picking the Boston Celtics.
Okay.
I am taking the Boston Celtics. And here's the few reasons why. Number 1, I am very concerned about how the injury towards Robert Williams is going to last in the long term. You're not talking a 2-week injury, you're talking a 4-week. You're talking about a 4-month and potentially 3-4 month injury. That's half the season. I feel like in the short term it's fine, but in the long term, I don't think Al Horford at that starting role is going to be the guy. He's getting old. Sorry, but it's true. I think they have some good depth. Grant Williams is a good player. I think it's very interesting to move Derek White at a starting position because he is a good defender. But once again, the injury with Robert Williams, the quick swap in with Joe Mazzulla, to where I'm not sold on how he is yet. I think he could be good, but who knows? And then also, I'm going to get my ass kicked for this one. Jaylen Brown is overrated. He is overrated. There has been as many moments as he's dropped 30, there's many moments when he's dropped 3. If we're going to call Chris Middleton inconsistent, we have to call Jaylen Brown inconsistent. Obviously, that doesn't mean that he's not a player to respect on the court, because you don't know what day you're going to get him. But I don't know. I'm a little bit scared of how, I'm not sure how Jaylen Brown's going to do. And Jason Tatum in the finals did not have a good finals.
Absolutely not.
He did not. And the third thing, Marcus Smart. For years, we have been calling Marcus Smart Marcus Stupid. And I think he had one good year. I think it's almost like a Randall kind of thing. Julius Randle had one good year, and then that was it. I don't think they have that same performance. But I still think they're a top 5 team in the NBA. Jake, you have the 4th spot.
Oh, okay.
Golden State Warriors, Memphis Grizzlies, Milwaukee Bucks, Miami Heat. Once again, you have the difficult spot. You get it 3 times. Because remember, whoever you choose is not in the top 3.
That's right. All right. Because of their fans, I might get some crap on this, but it's the Golden State Warriors.
Oh! I did not
Warriors.
see that. Oh, I did not see that one coming. Oh,
Golden-
Jesus. Okay.
So, okay. Steph Curry is an amazing player. The greatest shooter of all time. Future Hall of Famer. Still a top 3-point guard in the league. Maybe even a top 5 player in the game. Klay Thompson, an amazing shooter. He should also be in the Hall of Fame one day. Andrew Wiggins has broken out with Golden State. He's a great player. Jordan Poole might win 6th Man of the Year. But they lost a couple of guys. They lost Gary Payton II. They lost Otto Porter. And there was somebody else.
I think that was... They lost, Is Damian Lee still on that team? I think he is.
I'm not sure. They lost. They do bring in Dante DiVincenzo, who I do think is a good fit. He's a very good defender, can shoot the ball a bit. He won a ring in Milwaukee. He won a national championship at UConn and was a big part of that team. So, but this team...
Wasn't it Villanova?
Yeah. Oh wait, what did I say?
UConn.
I'm so sorry.
That's
Villanova.
That's
Villanova.
Kemba. That's Kemba.
Yeah. So this team is still a right team. I have them at 4. They'll still be probably top 3 in the West. They'll probably be in the conference finals. You could argue no one beats them in a 7-game series, but I don't know what we're getting from James Wiseman. I don't know what we're getting from Jonathan Kuminga. I don't know what we're getting from Moses Moody. If those 3 young guys step up and stay healthy, they probably go back to back, if I'm being honest. But I don't know what I'm getting from those guys. They just haven't played enough basketball for me. And a big part of this team last year was their depth. And they just don't have the same depth. Losing Gary Payton II, who was a force on defense last year. Losing Otto Porter, who really helped you on defense. They guarded the three-pointer really well last year. I don't think they'll be able to do that as well. Losing those 2 guys, they just don't have the same depth they did last year.
I think that's a very interesting pick. Also, let's remember they bought back Andre Iguodala, who's on his last season. I'm not sure how he fares out for them. I'm just not sure. And also, Draymond is just nuts. Top 3. Now I'm in a bad position because top 3 means that once again, if I pick whoever's in top 3, that means your favorite team might not be in top 2. At number 2.
Wait, no, you're at 3, right?
I'm number 3. It's tough to make power rankings, guys.
It's not easy at all.
It's not easy because you want to put bias in there, but you also don't. But there's also just some thoughts that you have that could really back up the decision. I am going to get a lot of flack for this one.
Okay.
What I'm about to do has not been approved by NBA fans. Whoever does not want to hear this,
I think I know.
censor yourself right now.
I know where you're going.
You damn right know where I'm going.
Sorry, I can't.
At number 3, I am putting the Miami Heat.
Oh, you did go with them. Okay.
Nah, I'm putting the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Oh,
I'm putting the Milwaukee Bucks. I was thinking about it. I was going back and forth between those 2 teams. Milwaukee Bucks are at number 3 because here's why. Giannis is a great player. The best player in the world, some consider him. Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, great players. They have arguably one of the greatest starting lineups in the league. But we have seen, as in last playoffs, that big 3 is just that. It is a big 3, and they are almost like a machine. To where here's the thing. Think about the Milwaukee Bucks as a car. A car works really well, or it should. If one thing breaks in the car doesn't work right. That's the same way as the Milwaukee Bucks. If Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday or Giannis, especially Giannis, if even one of them are hurt, they don't win. They don't make it past the second round. You could have easily argued that if Chris Middleton was healthy against the Celtics, they go on to the NBA Finals. And I just did not, and I think that might happen again. It might be a repeat. I don't think they made any huge moves in the offseason to really scare anybody. Giannis is scary enough. But this is where I keep them. And this is unfortunately just how they're going to stay. Sorry, Milwaukee fans, but your team's third because I don't think they're the best team in the league anymore. So now we're at number 2, Jake. Now this is the one we need to talk about together because it's obvious that via process of elimination, a team will not whoever we pick at second will be number 1 in the NBA. So the final 2 teams are the Memphis Grizzlies and the Miami Heat. That is who we've kept there. Who is number 2 and who is number 1? let's have a discussion. Because remember, whoever has it, we are projecting to maybe even win the NBA this year.
On paper, I don't think they are better than the other team. But because I have them projected to win the whole thing, I'm going to put the Miami Heat second.
I have to agree with you. I really do. And here's why. Once again, once we start reaching top 10, you get that list of great players.
Yeah.
Even top 15, you get that. You get to reach that moment of great players. But the problem is, look, losing PJ Tucker is a big deal, but not big enough because they still have pretty good depth.
Mm.
I don't trust Duncan Robinson with my life. He is a mason out there. He's laying bricks all over the place. Kyle Lowry's getting old. The most he's done in a game so far is complain. They need more size and they don't have it. I am scared of what this team can do in the sense of how much they will fuck me. They will screw me over again. And I am scared of that. But what is your stance on why the Miami Heat are second? And more importantly, why the Memphis Grizzlies, because we'll talk about this too, are number one that we have winning the entire NBA. Go.
So, on paper, the Heat are probably better than the Grizzlies. On paper. But the Grizzlies have John Morant, who's probably a top 5 player in the game. He is amazing. And just, Desmond Bane's a great shooter. You got Dylan Brooks once. They don't even have Dylan Brooks yet. Who's a very good 3-and-D guy. C. Adams a real good solid center. Brandon Clark's a decent role player. Even Xavier Tillman's a good role player. This team is just really well put together. If last year they went to the second round, and if Ja was healthy, they may have gone to the. I also think the inexperience was a part of it because they almost lost in the first round as well. Now that they got a taste of playoff experience, I think they're a shoo-in for the Western Conference Finals. And I just think with Ja and all these pieces, if they're healthy, I think that I don't know who beats them. And then compare them to Miami. I mean, Jimmy Butler is very underrated. He is an excellent player, an outstanding scorer, great defender. You got Bam, who's kind of the same way. And they do have very good depth. Just go down most on their bench. Max Strus, Gabe Vincent. Even Omar Yurtseven is a very good player. They have some good role players. Duncan Robinson can catch and shoot. Caleb Martin, he's a pretty good player. But the one thing, it's the same problem they had last year that they did not just in the offseason. Outside of Tyler Hero, I don't see anyone on this team that can create their own shot. And if you want to win a championship, you got to have guys that can create their own shot. Jimmy Butler, one of the most lethal scorers in some three-point in the league. But can he create his own shot? Not really, and definitely not from behind the three-point line. Bam cannot create his own shot. Duncan Robinson, catch and shoot, actually very good. Can he create his own shot? Hell no.
Yeah, they are a very ball movement dependent team when it comes to creating their own shot. Absolutely. But also, my thing is size. That's another big thing. Bam Adebayo's a great player. Dwayne Dedmon, not so much. Omar Yurtseven, come back, please. I beg. But the Grizzlies, this is also why I'm putting that number one. Sorry, Mom, but here's why I'm putting that number one. Because as you said, John Morant is my MVP.
Mine as well.
He is ultra athletic. Mm-hmm. Has one of the best verticals I've seen in a long time. One of the most entertaining players. He's working on that 3-point shot. If he fixes it, he'll be one of the best. He'll probably be the best player in the league. He has the best layup package in the league, if you ask me. He is a guy who can create his own shot. And then they do have a lot of depth. They have depth with a capital D. They really do. Steve Adams is a great player. Did they even get Jaren Jackson Jr. back yet?
They did not.
No. And then when they have him, they're going to be scary as well. I think this team can easily win an NBA championship. But they just need to play smart like they did last year. I think Taylor Jenkins is a great coach.
Yes.
He's my coach of the year as well. I think he's a great coach. He's done a lot for that team, and I think this is the point to where they've started from absolute irrelevancy to becoming one of the best teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
I think that's an easy power rankings. So to recap, from 30 to 29, the Orlando Magic, Oklahoma City Thunder, Houston Rockets, Indiana Pacers, Detroit Pistons, San Antonio Spurs, Los Angeles Lakers, Utah Jazz, Washington Wizards, Sacramento Kings, Charlotte Hornets, New Orleans Pelicans, New York Knicks, Minnesota Timberwolves, Brooklyn Nets, Cleveland Cavaliers, Portland Trailblazers, Chicago Bulls, Toronto Raptors, Denver Nuggets, Los Angeles Clippers, Atlanta Hawks, Philadelphia 76ers, Phoenix Suns, Dallas Mavericks. At our top 5, we have the Boston Celtics, the Golden State Warriors, the Milwaukee Bucks. At number 2, we have the Miami Heat. And at number 1, who is the best team in the NBA in our eyes, and the NBA championship favorite, is the Memphis Grizzlies. Do we have any problems with that? Any changes?
No, I mean, if you were to go team by team, you could probably say, "Oh, move this guy here," but I'm not about to do that.
I'm pretty satisfied. I think
power rankings are power rankings. It's power rankings are they change every week for a reason. This is a good starting point.
Yeah, and also let's remember ours are always 100% correct. We've never gotten it wrong.
Yeah,
never ever gotten it wrong.
Obviously, yeah,
ever. But that's gonna do it for us for our power rankings. I'm very happy with how those turned out.
Same.
Now, before we go, we're gonna talk about baseball real quick because the World Series is about to start.
Friday.
So on Friday. So you want to get us started, Jake?
Sure. So we got the Houston Astros. Pretty expected, by the way. Yankees bye. Go play golf with the Mets. Don't want the door hate on the way out. Against the Philadelphia Phillies, the 87-win win to playoffs for the skin of their teeth Phillies. Who would have thought?
Not me.
So I think the Astros win the World Series. Offensively, although the Phillies do have a very good lineup, Houston's I think is a little bit better. The Astros have better starting pitching. The Phillies' top 2 of Nola and Zach Wheeler is probably a little better than Verlander and Framber Valdez, but I think the Astros rotation is deeper. At 3 and 4, Astros have Christian Javier and Lance McCullers. The Phillies 3 and 4 is Ranger Suarez and Noah Syndergaard, which is not really scaring me. In the back of the bullpen, the Phillies are looking at Anthony Dominguez, David Robertson, and Jose Alvarado. Houston's looking at Ryan Presley, Rafael Montero, and Brian Abreu. They're pretty equal, but after those 3 guys I stand for the Phillies, there really isn't anybody, and the Astros have a bunch of guys, so they also have a deeper bullpen, they have a deeper rotation, probably an even deeper lineup. They got, Dusty Baker is a very experienced manager. Rob Thompson's done a great job as the interim guy there. He's the full-time guy, but still, he doesn't have the experience. But the Phillies we've been counting on all year, I think they put up a good fight. I'll take the Astros in 6 games.
All right, here's my stance. I agree. They're a good team. I like Jeremy Pena. I think he's quite good. Mm-hmm. Dusty Baker, very respectable manager, as you've said. But here's my thing. I cannot root for cheaters.
I'm not saying I'm rooting for them. I mean, I am.
Once a cheater, always a cheater.
Yep.
We've learned that from the Patriots. Now, just to inform you, I am 1-0 in World Series predictions.
Are you?
Yes, because I said the Braves last year.
Oh boy.
So I'm taking the Philadelphia Phillies.
Wow.
Now you're right. It is a little bit strange that they made it here. Mm. And I'm not sure how well they'll do on a big stage of the World Series. But don't sleep on Bryce Harper. And all I'm going to say is, all it takes is for one bad thing to happen. And everyone knows that when one bad thing happens, Nick Castellanos is about to drive a home run straight into deep left field, like he always does, always has been, and always will be. But even if the Astros win, I don't think anyone will doubt. I don't think anyone will disagree that the Philadelphia Phillies had probably one of the best Cinderella runs that we've ever seen.
Probably.
In a MLB playoffs.
Yeah.
Who do they beat? Well, they beat the Padres, who beat the Dodgers and the Mets. But they beat the Braves, who were favored to win the World Series again, and they beat them. They beat the Cardinals, who they had no right winning, who they had no right beating, and they beat them. I think I wanted the Cardinals to win because I want to see Albert Pujols get a ring before he retired.
He already got a couple.
He's already got a couple of them, but just to cap off the career, you always want to see the guy. But I think the Phillies had a great year, and I think their momentum as being that underdog has only fed the fire more, because I look at some of these teams. Look at some of these teams who have been the underdogs in situations, in Philly especially, and have ended up showing out.
Yeah.
Who end up showing up. Like the one I look at is the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia Eagles had to some people no right being in the Super Bowl, no right. And not only do they beat the New England Patriots with Tom Brady and all those weapons like Rob Gronkowski with Rob Gronkowski and Danny Amendola and Julian Edelman on that team, but they also won with a backup.
Yeah.
Philly, I know people don't like Philly, but Philly does have that dog in them. They do. And I feel that the Phillies could take that momentum of beating all these big teams, all these favored teams who were supposed to beat them, and take that straight to the World Series. And it wouldn't surprise me if they win a World Series this year. At least that's my prediction.
All right.
They always have the Mariners to bang if they need trash cans. That didn't come out right, but that did not come out right. Sorry everybody, but if they need trash cans to smack, Seattle Mariners. Well, I think that's going to do it for us today, right?
Yeah, that's all we got for you guys today. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you once again to Kenley Pierre, who was our guest earlier today. That's all we got. Until next time, so long, and have a great day.
See you guys.